This next play is, when I saw the movie, I hummed this forever. And yes, if you don't know what this is, you're about ready to find out. Please join me in welcoming Harry Turpin. You are the director and choreographer at Tacoma Musical Playhouse for the
Wedding Singer.
There it is, The Wedding Singer. I love this play. And Julia Gulia, I have a Julia who's one of my best friends, and I call her Julia Gulia, which comes from the movie. You brought with you two amazing individuals. Tarquin White, you are the actor who plays the beloved Robbie Hart. Welcome to Cityline.
Thank you.
And you are as charming and elegant as Adam Sandler ever was, because he's the turkey lurkey do guy. Yeah. We love him. This woman next to you has a name like none other. Not only do you get to be called Julia Sullivan and Julia Gulia in the play, but your real name is Savannah Masako Dry. It's like a cocktail. I love your name, and that's your real name, so don't ever change it, okay? Welcome to Cityline. You are a delight. So, all right, Harry, what's the process been like putting this iconic film onto stage? Because usually it's stage to film, but this is film to stage.
Yeah, it's been an interesting process because, you know, they basically have taken the script and put it on stage. And so there's a lot of cinematic elements when you're doing a film. You can cut from one scene to another, no problem. And you have to adjust for that on stage a little bit. We don't necessarily have that instantaneous magic.
Right.
So part of that process is figuring out how do we transition from one location to a completely different location and change our costumes and make all of that happen, sometimes literally within maybe 10, 15 to 20 seconds.
A wedding banquet to, I'm not going to give it away, to an airplane.
To a mall or
to
whatever.
To a mall. It's like, how do you switch that without losing the integrity and the transition you get on film?
Right, and so you work with your design team to make sure that all of the elements are serving the story in a way that is going to further it and give the audience cohesion without necessarily bogging you down in all those details.
I love that. So first off, the choreography. I mean, the music from The Wedding Singer is iconic, amazing music. So how did that influence the choreography for this production?
Yeah, so you know, it's firmly rooted in 1985, and which we could argue might be one of the greatest decades. But
I will never argue that, because that was my decade.
Yeah, same. I grew up in that decade, and so we have some iconic dance moves, and so a lot of that is listening to the music and figuring out what's going to tell our story in a way that makes sense and brings back that sense of nostalgia and fun for the audience.
Yes.
Pulling in dance moves and moments that allow our audience to sit there and go, ah, yes, I remember that. Ah, yes, that's still lurking somewhere in my body.
Tarquin and Savannah, your hair did the most amazing things. Savannah, you transformed, and Tarquin, your hair was up.
Yeah.
So we're going to find out what you were doing in that in just a second here. So how was it working with the cast? Because I'm looking at you two, and I know you didn't grow up in the 80s. But I know that because you're theater people, you know about this. So did you have to explain some things?
We did. You know, the cast runs the gamut from, I think our youngest is probably, I think, 22.
Okay.
And and I think we go up into our 60s with our oldest cast members. So we have some of those cast members who've been around to be able to, you know, share some wisdom and share what those moments were like with their cast and say, hey, here are the iconic things that we remember. And it's been really fun to kind of educating and bridging those gaps.
Okay, you two. Harry's talked enough. Now we're going to do a little bit of table tennis here. So I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and Tarquin, I'm going to have you go first on this one. What's it like playing the most iconic character in film history, Adam Sandler?
Well, one, it's very scary.
Yeah.
It's a big, how do you say, shoe to fit.
Yes.
But after diving in and getting my fingers dirty in the role, I was like, I love this. I get to play and just kind of take what he did and see how I can put my magic to it and let it go boom.
Absolutely. You, Savannah, have the inevitable or enviable task of Drew Barrymore. Drew Barrymore is just America's sweetheart. So what's it like for you to recreate that on stage?
It's really, really fun. I think Drew Barrymore, like you said, she is so incredibly sweet and warm and welcoming and kind, and it really, she shines in that way, and it's been really fun to kind of dive into that. I've really enjoyed it, and it's easy to work with somebody who is so easy to adore.
Well, you two have such great chemistry. I noticed that in the green room when you were sitting together. I'm like, oh, they have chemistry. And just now you just kind of leaned in. That's a beautiful way that you two relate to each other. Okay, second question. We're going to start with you. So you mentioned that Drew Barrymore is, and I mentioned she's sweet also. How is the stage version of your character different than the film?
I would say she is quite similar, but I think that just because of my personality, she's a little spicier.
Oh, I love that!
She's definitely spicier. She's got a little more sass with her humor, I think, which has been fun to play with.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, Tarquin, how is your character different than Adam Sandler?
Oh, I try to add a lot, because I'm from Africa.
Yes.
So I try to bring some of that little...
Exoticness.
Yes.
Yes.
To give him a lot more strength, and especially in the dancing, to give that, everything comes from the soul. That's what we believe back home.
It does. All right. So, gosh, we have 1:21 left. Where did that go? Okay. So, what message can we take away from this production?
I think the thing that's so lovely about The Wedding Singer is that it really talks about, you know, being true to who you are and loving the people that you should love, and you know, it's all set in this very nostalgic spoof sort of setting, but we have characters who are trying to figure out who they're supposed to be and who they are supposed to be with, and when they're true to themselves, the truth is evident.
The attraction and the doors open, doesn't it? But that is a big, scary leap, like both of you have had to take in terms of taking on these roles. What's coming up next at TMP?
So TMP's next main stage production is the classic Grease, which is very exciting.
Yes,
and
there
then
it is.
closing out the season will be Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins. Oh my gosh. Mary Poppins is my idol. Okay, people have always asked me, who do you want to be in your group? I'm like, Mary Poppins. I want the bag and I want everything there. Who do we need to thank?
Anybody who's touched The Wedding Singer. There's this countless team behind the scenes who's just working tirelessly to put this together. It's a big show. I think each actor has 8 to 9 costumes, wigs galore across so we can capture the 80s. Of course, special shout out to Jon and Jeff for the opportunity. And then to Kaylee, who's our wig seamstress, just to say thank you for putting all of these amazing hairstyles on everything.
Go, Kaylee. And thank you to you two for saying yes when you were scared to death to recreate something that you probably weren't even born when it came out. So thank you. And I'll see you in the theater sooner than later. All right, Kat and I are going to have a conversation about what kind of spring champagne would you drink if you were at The Wedding Singer. You don't want to miss that. We'll be right back.